welcome to this next episode of The Circle. And if you have an eagle eye, you might notice that it looks almost as if I did the videos one right after the other, and I did. And I haven't even checked to see if my head is in the frame and everything is lined up. I was trying to do it in a, the 33 to, how they call it, can't think of the word right now, where you take the box and you go like this, and then the golden ratio, that's the phrase I'm trying to think of. I was trying to frame myself within the golden ratio, so I'd be on the bottom corner of your screen or something instead of dead center. I should be a little off center. Just because for some reason that seems to be, it looks better to us, I don't know. So I'm just trying this new format, and I haven't shaved, so I look terrible, and I'm sorry, and I'm not dressed fancy for you or anything like that. This video is going to cover something that I realized today about energy. Okay, so let's get a little bit of background. First of all, I'm not a scientist. I don't have an electron microscope or whatever equipment there is. I don't have access to one. I probably don't think I've even ever laid eyes on one. I've never seen anything of one. I know nothing about any of this first-hand experience. I'm only drawing from stuff that I've read. So if you are a scientist, feel free to comment and give us the facts of the situation and correct me if I'm wrong. I encourage that. That is the whole point of the circle, is that I want people to discuss and to learn and grow better. So, as far as I understand it, they have taken and gone into an atom or molecule or whatever. They've drilled down basically as far as they can go, and what they have found in the base part of all matter, at the very lowest levels as far as we can go in all matter, is space, just like a void, like space like a void, and vibration. Particles or bits or whatever their word form is vibrating. That's all they found. Okay, we'll start with that. I'll try to give you a bit of a framework. So right now if I touch this, my hand's not going to go through it because I'm not entirely sure how this works, but even though my hand is just space and vibration at its ultimate lowest, as far as you can go down into its elements, it's not actually physically solid, and this isn't actually physically solid. I still can't push my hand through it. I can't go through a wall. I can't do that while in a physical body. Now, I know somewhere out there in the world, at some point in time, past, present, or maybe the future, somebody's going to figure out how to do that. Maybe they'll use technology. I don't know. But right now, we can't do that in the physical body. However, if we have an out-of-body experience or astral project, and we're not in our physical body anymore, and now we're in an energetic body, and you can call it whatever you want, I don't care. Give it whatever word you want, etheric body, astral body. Some people say there's different energetic bodies. It doesn't matter. Once you have left the physical body, you can walk through a wall. You find that you go right through it. Some people report a little bit of resistance going through it, but you can go right through a wall. Why is that? Now, one of the ideas is that maybe the wall is at such a high vibration rate that in the physical body, being a lower vibration rate, it can't go through, but that doesn't make any sense to me. I think that the physical body is probably operating at a higher vibration rate than the wall. I know that the frequencies or vibration rate don't match, and that's part of the reason why the physical body can't push through a wall. But I think what we're really dealing with here is when you're in an energetic body and you're not in your physical body anymore, you're able to pass the wall because of two things. One is you're in a higher energy, higher frequency, higher vibration body, and two is you don't have the beliefs that are attached with your physical form. While we're in physical form, just about everybody on Earth, past, present, and future, believes in gravity, believes in solid surfaces are solid. This is drilled into us since childhood. This is what we experience. I don't think there's any way to raise somebody to where they could be completely isolated from those beliefs and not have them. Because if we could find a way to do that, then they would be able to walk through a wall in their physical body because they wouldn't know they couldn't do it. It's like the stupid cartoon, the Road Runner, And Wile E. Coyote runs off the cliff and he's just hanging out in the air there for a while before he falls because he doesn't know that he can't hang out in the air. That's a really stupid example, but that's basically what we're dealing with here. It's belief that keeps us from being able to go through the wall. It's not just the vibration thing, it's our belief. So our belief systems that we have that are relevant while we're in the physical body affect our ability to go through a wall or not in the physical body. But when you leave the physical body, you leave all that stuff behind. You don't have any frame of reference when you're in an energetic body of what you can and can't do. Society hasn't raised you from an early age to tell you that in an energetic body you are not going to be able to go through a wall. Nobody is raised that way as far as I know. So that's why you're able to do it. If you were raised that way and had a belief that you couldn't go through the wall, then it wouldn't matter if you're in your energetic or physical body, you would not be able to go through the wall. All of this is trying to lay a groundwork here, so just kind of bear with me. I'm trying to make this as clear as I can. This is a very esoteric, kind of strange subject, so try to bear with me. Okay, so we've established that all matter ultimately is made up of space as in a void and vibration rate of something, whatever that little particle, whatever they call it, I don't know the scientific terms. That's the theory as far as I understand it. I've read it, and that might be not entirely true, but that's the theory. And you can take it a little further. You can go out and talk about space, and then they have this thing that they're arguing about called dark matter. They can't figure out where all the matter is in space. There's matter that is not accounted for, and they can't figure it out. And they're thinking, okay, dark matter has to be the matter that's not accounted for in space. This is something they'll have to research. That's something else that I learned during my time in college. So that's our frame of reference, and what I want to talk about is how our vibration rate affects us when it comes to disease. And when I use the word disease, I like to use it as, I think Wayne Dyer and other people have put it, but DIS-EASE, DIS-EASE, dis-ease. And an analogy that is down to earth and everybody should be able to grasp is a drain. Okay, let's say that your physical body is like a drain. And in the absolute perfect ideal state, meaning that every aspect and bit of your physical body is operating at the highest frequency and rate possible, you are like a totally clear, clean, empty drain. And instead of water coming through you, it would be energy. Although technically you could say the water is a form of energy, but anyway, we'll for this particular analogy, think of water going down a crystal clear, perfectly clean drain, and that is how your physical body would be, with energy going through your physical body. And somebody in that state would not experience physical death. That would not happen. Or if there was a physical death, it would happen because either they decided they were done living at whatever time they decided, and the body wasn't actually dying or in bad health, they just decided to shut it down and leave. Or they gave into beliefs of others around them that there has to be death. Right now, the prevailing belief in our world is that all things die, and that you have a limited amount of time on Earth. And what's interesting is if you look back in time, you'd find out that people weren't expected to live past 30 or 40. You'd be an old man at 30 or 40. And so think of somebody who's 90, 100 years old going back in time to the Middle Ages and talking to people. How are they going to view that person? Because to them, nobody can live that long. There never was anybody that could live that long, because their belief at the time was that you had a very short period of time to live. But now our beliefs have changed. We need to keep this in mind, because when we think that there has to be life and death, because there's always been life and death, there has to be a starting point when we've adopted this idea of living and dying, and it's changed how many years we have as we've gone through the evolution of humanity. Anyway, so the idealized best highest frequency rate you can operate at in your physical body, you would have no disease. Your body would not die because it would not be decaying. It wouldn't be falling apart. Nothing would be going wrong with it. But I don't think anybody is able to experience that state, because part of that state, getting to it, would require being able to divest yourself of the belief of a certain amount of time on Earth in your physical form, a certain amount of time we're allowed to live. And everybody is raised from an early age, just as I said in the previous video, things that we're raised to believe from an early age. I think it was the previous video. Anyway, that we're going to die at some point. Okay. So most people are not the perfectly crystal clear drain. Now, they might be fairly clear and clean, but almost everybody is going to have some stuff in their drain, and the energy will not be flowing freely through. And that stuff could be in some part of their body, it could be their entire body, it doesn't matter what it is. As the drain clogs, eventually the water, in this case we're talking about energy, not water, but you can imagine as a drain fills up and clogs and becomes completely, totally solid, no water can pass through. And the same thing happens to the physical body if there is a buildup of whatever it is, disease. It's clogging up your drain, energy is not flowing freely through you, and now you're going to experience things like cancer. That's going to be one of the things you'll experience. And this ultimately comes from repressing our emotions. You love somebody, they're married to another person, you're afraid of proclaiming your love to them, because if you do, they'll reject you, so you don't, you hold it all inside. You grow bitter and angry at the person that she's with. Maybe you see that person is not worthy of her, and on it goes. And then if you did proclaim your feelings, then maybe she would reject you, and then you would have those negative emotions you're dealing with. We don't allow ourselves to feel what we feel. We need to do that. We need to just feel whatever it is we feel, acknowledge it, accept it, embrace it. When we're done feeling it, release it and let it go. And just try to increase our vibration and frequency by thinking of the thing that makes us feel just a little bit better. And that is taught in Abraham, in those teachings about the emotional vibration scale. You do this thing that feels a little better than this thing, and you keep working your way up a little bit at a time until you're operating at the highest frequency vibration you can reach. There's another chart that my singing instructor sent me. It says joy is near the top. I think it was by Hawkins. Anyway, so what I realized today coming out of my singing lesson was that if there is a sickness in me, if there's a dis-ease in me, then it is being caused by energy not flowing freely, either through me entirely or through some part of me, and in my case right now it's my lower back. Now if we were talking about Louise Hay's teachings, she would say that your lower back problems is caused by feeling a lack of support by society, lack of financial support, feeling disconnected from universal supply or source. I don't know what her exact words would be, but it'd be something along those lines. And that makes sense to me. Yeah, I do kind of feel that. But on a more practical level, there's very little energy flowing through my lower back right now. The energy is getting gummed up. It's stagnating or getting gummed up, or the best way to think of it is it's moving around at a lower frequency or vibratory rate than the rest of my body. Now, assuming that what I read about, you zoom down in the microscope and that's what you see, is true, if we were to take a part of my body like my hand or some part of my body that felt great and compared what you saw in the zoom in, the vibratory rate and everything, if you could find some way to map that out and compare it to some part of me from my lower back where the pain is, my guess is the two rates wouldn't match. But then again, there might be some other reason for that. And also, I think that you would find in a dead physical body that rate would be different than in a living physical body. My theory is that when there is very low frequency or vibration, or none, depending on how it works, that is physical death. So, we have to find a way, in my case I have to find a way to get the energy flowing freely through my lower back, which would heal the dis-ease and allow me to get free of this pain that I'm experiencing right now. And so I can handle this a couple of ways. I can do affirmations that address it from the Louise Hay perspective of feeling lack of support. I can do the Abraham perspective of find the next thing that feels better, keep working my way up, do a creative workshop, focus on what I want, and just try to make myself feel better, get as close to joy as I can, because if I'm joyful, then that will be healed. At some point, it'll aid in the healing. Or I can, lost my train of thought. Oh, yes. Singing, of course. Singing, done properly. You are aiming your notes, your high notes are aiming up here and vibrating up here. Your lower notes will probably be somewhere around here. Done through a proper singing instructor. One example would be Silvia Nakkach, and I may not be pronouncing that name correctly, her Yoga of the Voice or any of her workshops. But any singing instructor that gets you singing properly, that vibrates your whole body. And that vibration will cause energy that's stagnant or not moving very well to break up a little or start to move better, and then energy can flow through. I should say energy, I should say parts of your body, bits that are not moving very well, not at a very high frequency or rate. It'll allow more energy to go through it if you sing. You feel better after you have a good singing lesson. And so any singing instructor you can find that can help you to sing properly and train you where to place your voice and your singing, your breath work. You'll eventually be sending energy up and down your spine. You'll be sending energy through every bit of your body. And the breath work, of course, is going to help, and that will be vibrating all the parts of your body, and that will help you to heal. So that's another way to do it. I would like to give you a bit of a challenge. It'll require a little research, but I would like you to take a little bit of time and look around and try to find somebody on earth, past, present, or future, who is at peace, joyful, happy, content. Not just somebody that you go into and talk to and they smile at you and they act like all of that, but when you go around them, you feel lifted up. That's how you tell if somebody's truly joyful, happy, content. You don't feel drained. If you go into somebody who's trying to put an act on, and you'll be able to tell. You can tell it in their eyes. You can feel drained after you've talked to them. A person who is truly joyful, happy, content, and peaceful is going to set you at ease, and you're going to feel recharged being around them. I feel recharged around my singing instructor because she's at a much greater, higher vibratory rate and frequency than I am most of the time. So your challenge is to find somebody who really, truly is joyful, peaceful, content, happy, that has some kind of a terminal, uncurable illness. It's not going away, it's getting worse, and they're going to die from it, like cancer, for example, or something. And I bet you, although I don't have any money to front for this, and I'm not a betting man, but I bet you that you're not going to find anybody, past, present, or future, that fits that designation. You will never find a truly joyful, happy, peaceful, content person who is having some kind of unrecoverable illness that they're not getting better from. You might find somebody that has had cancer, or that has cancer but is getting better, and they're getting better because of their being joyful, but you will not find somebody who's getting worse that's joyful, happy, content, and peaceful. And so that's your kind of a hint right there, that when you really feel good, and that is an indicator of how high on the, Abraham calls it your vibration scale, I don't know what they call it exactly, it's emotional scale, but when you're really feeling good and you're really high on that vibratory rate frequency, you are not going to be susceptible to disease, you're not going to have as much problems in your physical body, And that's just kind of the theory that I'm presenting to you here. I'm kind of sharing this realization that I had that all disease, all issues that you might experience in the physical body are caused by energy not moving and flowing freely. If we were to use our pipe analogy again, let's say we have a straight section of pipe and it's mostly clear, and then we have another little section here, a little section of straight section of pipe, and then there's a bunch of stuff in it, and then it clears out again. And let's say that was your spine. Let's say it was my spine. Well, this first part of the pipe, where it's mostly clear, would be like my upper back. And then my lower back would be the part where the pipe is mostly clogged. And so what I have to do to heal myself is to find a way to dissolve that stagnant, bad, low vibration, not bad, don't think the word bad or good or whatever. It's low vibration, low frequency energy, open that up so that the whole pipe is open and clear. And once the whole pipe is open and clear, then the back pain will go away because that will be healed. So that's just what I wanted to share. I'm sorry if the video was a little bit long-winded to get around to it, but I wanted to lay a good foundation to give you some information on this. And I guess that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Let's see if I can get up without moving the table this time.